Good evening. At 6:30, we'll call this meeting of the Winter City Council to order. We'll start off with roll call. Sandra?
Councilman Clay?
Here.
Councilman Hughes? Here. Councilman Clunt?
Here.
Councilman Miners?
Here.
Councilman Schuyler?
Present.
Councilman Shaheen?
Here.
If you'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So are there any conflicts of interest in tonight's agenda among the council people? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Chandra, will you fill in the names of the resignations that we have before we approve that?
Item number 3 is Gentry Gregg in the Corrections Department. Item number 4 is Megan Blair in the Communications Department.
With that information completed, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Schuyler, second by Hughes to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number E, tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion for the agenda.
Motion by Clunt. Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that motion.
Miners? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. Public input. We have a 10-minute window. If anybody in the audience would like to address the council for any reason whatsoever, just make your way to the podium. If nobody does, then we'll go on to Chandra for new hires.
Give me just a moment, I'm looking it up. The only new hire that I am aware of was in the police department, and that was for lieutenant for Chris Aid at starting wage, 6-month probation, and full benefits.
Very good, thank you. Next, we'll go to department reports, and I'll ask the Public Safety Commissioner, Mitch Miller, to begin, please.
Good evening. I have a brief update. What I'm going to do tentatively tonight is give a jail report, and then Dan is going to give the code enforcement report. And then in 2 weeks, I plan to follow up with the police department and the 911. So you get half of it this time and half of it next time. So I'll just give you the brief numbers, because 2 weeks ago I did give you the numbers of the jail. Today's count is 147, and I will repeat that again, 147. For the month average is 144, and for the year average we have 158. So 158 for the year average in the jail. We'll follow up with Dan's report now.
All right, so in the last month, I've issued 8 building permits. I've been averaging about 5 to 10 lawns that had to be mowed per week. And then I'm still slowly working through building maintenance issues over in the northeast sector of town. But that's all I have for you. Any questions or anything? All right.
Thank you, Dan. Now I'd ask Troy Kruger to give his Public Works report.
Hello.
Water and sewer, water main replacement on Washington Street. I think everyone probably saw us doing that last week. We now have new plastic pipe from 6th down to the highway. Pool's been open, running well. Water samples, water leak on West 11th Street a couple weeks ago. Spraying our lagoons and doing some maintenance work out there that our permit requires us to do. Spent a couple hours in Cologne the other day jetting some sewers out for those folks. And we had a sewer on 8th Street that we had to jet and Vector. Streets and sanitation, been running the sweeper. We've been marking cutouts areas. As soon as one of the hot mix plants in either Mitchell Pier or up here opens up, we'll be doing cutouts and doing some patchwork in the city. Maintenance out at the dump. We have been busy at the dump. Bladed the lagoon roads and added some recycle also per that permit. Help with Washington Street main project. Those guys always get involved in that. And they also helped out with that water break on 11th Street. Sprayed mosquitoes. So we have multiple departments that hold spray license so they can do the public health spraying. So a lot of times you guys will see water department guys or street department or parks department guys. They all hold those licenses, so they all get involved in the spraying for the public health. Streets guys did it this last time. We also have contaminated soil out at our landfill, so that has to be turned every month, and we have to turn that information into the state, make sure that they get the documentation on that. So we did that again this month. Parks and cemetery, we mowed the code enforcement lots. Park, cemetery, ball field, city lots of mowing. Grass is growing fast. We have at least a ball game every night here, probably pretty much until middle of August. We have at least one ball game every night. I got those guys started on spraying the sidewalks and the streets for the weeds that are coming up in the sidewalks and around the Main Street area and some of our other places around town. We trimmed the Main Street trees on Main Street and then all the parks and the ball field areas, and they helped with the water department get some of the trenching filled back in and get it prepped for grass seed. Light department tore down, there's a lot north of the county shop, customers request that we took that service out of there. Tore down poles and wires southeast side of the golf course. All that overhead is now down, poles included, wires all down. Bored in conduit over on Roosevelt Street and an alleyway between 9th and 10th. They bored in a they bored under 4th Street for the water department, so we didn't have to tear 4th Street up. MMUA safety training, trim trees, and going back after themselves when they do some trenching and doing the dirt work up in that Roosevelt 9th, 10th Street area. Electrical department, he's been working on tickets. Our command center is kind of like our census analytical. Every morning, one of the guys checks that, and if there's a issue with a meter or something like that, those guys look into those problems. So Ray, our electrician, does that on the electrical side. He's still working on the firmware updates. Spent some time getting clarification on his job responsibilities. Fixed a power issue out at the dump for cameras, electric issue with the gate out at the airport, couple meters that are showing inaccurate readings, and we're working with Landis on trying to figure those issues out. They're showing an abnormally high reading on command center, but on the billing side, and if you go look at the meter, everything's correct, so it's not a problem with as far as billing goes. On the customer side, it's just something that's showing up on command center that we're trying to figure out why it's doing that. So, any questions?
Greg, what is the cost that we rent out our Vector truck for, like, to send it to Cologne?
The Vector truck?
Yeah.
It was the cash buyout price?
No, to send it to Cologne, what are we charging Cologne?
It was 2.5 hours at our rate. I turned the bill into the office, but I can't tell you exactly what that number is.
Okay.
It's just it's the rate. We have per our, whatever you want to call it, our It's equipment resolution.
Equipment with
So we
employee
bill it
costs.
out according by the hour, and then it comes with an operator.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kruger. Now I'd call on our finance officer, Chandra Phillips, for her report, please.
Trying to make it so they can see who's there, sorry. My apologies for not having the report up at the beginning with new hires. There was one other new hire. That was Mara Jo Lutke. She started full-time in the communications department at $20.93, which is starting wage per hour, 6-month probation and full benefits. Otherwise, you were handed out the May 2024 financial statement, which you approved in the consent agenda. If you have questions on that, let me know. Myself, HR, and our deputy finance officer all attended throughout different days HR and Finance Officer School in Spearfish that's hosted by SDML and the South Dakota Government of Finance Officers and Human Resources Board. A lot of information was learned, and I will share it with you as we go through our committees on different things. There's some special event licenses, medical cannabis rules, different things on our applications that we take in for employment, and so a lot of those things you'll be seeing me bring up as we get time to do our research on our end and then bring to you what we need to address. That's it.
Any questions for Chandra? Thank you very much. Tonight, we have no bid openings, no public hearings, but we do have a Board of Adjustments. If we could have a motion to enter into, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion to enter to the Board of Adjustments.
I'll second.
Motion by Skylar, second by Shaheen, to move into a Board of Adjustments. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. We're in Board of Adjustments now.
All right, what I have for you guys today is a variance request from Verlin Kyle at 726 West 8th.
Could you say the name again, please? I'm really hard of hearing. I need you to speak.
Verlin Kyle.
Verlin. Thank you.
Yep. So he's looking to build a carport on an existing concrete pad that he has in his backyard there. He's looking to put it about a foot off the property line, which is where the existing concrete pad is. It's compatible with the rest of the neighborhood. There are other accessory structures that are built directly on the property line in that neighborhood. So the commission didn't see any issues moving forward, so.
No complaints from neighbors?
No complaints.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion, we accept it.
I would second it.
Motion by Miners, second by Hughes to accept this variance request at 726 West 8th Street. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. This motion for a variance request carries. We would need a motion to exit Board of Adjustments, please.
Mr. Mayor, I motion we exit the Board of Adjustment.
Motion by Shaheen, second
I'll second.
by Hughes. Good thing she's here. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We'll move into old business. I would look for a motion on the second reading.
I'll make a motion to approve second reading, passage and approval of ordinance 1077, ordinance creating the supplemental budget for capital improvement fund for Bailey's complex improvements in the amount of $128,810.
Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Clunt. Is that the second, Mr.
Mr.
Clegg?
Mayor, if Councilman Hughes would allow me, I would second this motion.
I will let that go.
Second by Clay. Good thing he came to the meeting. This will be a roll call vote. Councilman Clay.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, just a minute.
if I could have, just to let the public know what this is for.
Very good.
So the city of Winter did receive a grant through the Game Fish and Parks for Bailey's Complex Improvements. The bids, which we opened publicly, did come in at $128,810. The reason you're moving the entire amount is because we have to pay for it up front, and then the grant will reimburse us once they come in and inspect and make sure that everything is done the way we bid it out. So that's what that is, and it will move into a separate capital improvement fund. So when you see your financial reports, there'll be a separate 500 fund once this goes through 20 days publication.
Very good. Thank you, Chandra, for that explanation. We'll have a roll call vote now, unless there's any other questions or points of order that we need to make. Okay, Councilman Clay,
Yes.
Councilman Miners,
Yes.
Councilman Clunt,
Yes.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Schuyler,
Aye.
and Councilman Shaheen.
Yeah.
This motion carries. We'll move on to new business. Item number 1.
I'll make a motion to approve the mayor to sign the petition to vacate right away with Trip County Rural Water.
I'll second that.
Moved by Clunt, second by Schuyler, to have the mayor sign the petition to vacate the right-of-way with Trip County Water User District. This will be a roll call vote. Oh,
Discussion.
questions, discussion, I'm sorry.
Mr. Droshik, as far as you can see, all our i's are dotted and t's are crossed, we're all good, squared away. We know what we're vacating, abandoning, there's no questions, nothing hidden, we're not missing anything.
Yep, so I did this, I had it reviewed by the engineer, by my deputy, and then also the water department's attorney reviewed it as well. And then there is attached an Exhibit A that clearly marks, it is it's a plat exhibit, so it does, with the lines there that cross it, that is the section that will be vacated per the petition.
This is just the first step in many. So our process with this is we have to sign the petition. Once the petition is signed by both ourselves, and then Lisa has permission from her board to sign it, then it will go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they'll have a public hearing on it. Once they have gone through it and reviewed it, then the City Council will have a public hearing on it. Once that public hearing has gone through, then there will be a resolution that passes with that public hearing to approve it, and 20 days publication. So it's not like an overnight process, but we're moving in the right direction.
But it is the process. Okay, any other comments, questions, answers? This will be a roll call vote. Councilman Miners,
Yes.
Clunt,
Yes.
Hughes,
Aye.
Schuyler,
Aye.
Shaheen,
Yeah.
and Clay.
Yes.
Very good, that motion carries. Item number 2 under new business.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the final payment to Trip County for the purchase of the recycle transfer station at $200,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Shaheen has moved and Clunt has seconded to approve the final payment to Trip County for the purchase of the recycle transfer station of $200,000. This will be a roll call vote.
Mr. Mayor.
Oops, here we go.
Sorry. So I did include in your packet the contract that we signed with Trip County. In paragraph H, it does say that if we receive the grant, then we can pay the full amount of the $200,000. Otherwise, it would be $20,000 per year. So since we did receive the grant, we can go ahead and pay that off in full, but we are not violating our contract.
That was attached to the packet.
Yes, thank you for that clarification, because I'd seen the payments in there and questioned that too.
Second attachment.
Very good. And I can be interrupted at any time, so just make that clear. So without further interruptions, we'll have a roll call vote. Councilman Clunt,
Yes.
Hughes,
Aye.
Skylar,
Aye.
Shaheen,
Yeah.
Clay,
Yes.
and Miners.
Yes.
Okay, all eyes on that. That'll pass. Item number 3, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to purchase the Western Star 47X truck for Floyd's Truck Center for the sanitation department, an amount of $180,794 at a Minnesota State bid contract price.
I second.
And we have a second?
I second.
Motion by Clunt, second by Shaheen, to purchase a Western Star 47X truck from Floyd's Truck Center for the sanitation department in the amount of $180,794
Mr. Mayor,
at a Minnesota state bid contract price.
sorry.
Is there any discussion?
I just want to make sure people, Troy, this is coming out of that grant too, correct?
Correct. So there was 3 items on the grant. One was to pay off the county, the second was this truck, and the third is the recycled trailers. So these 2 items are on your list tonight, the recycled trailers. I was not able to get a purchase with the government purchasing program, so we'll have to go out to bids on those. And she delivered the bid to Shandon this afternoon, so we'll get that out as soon as we can.
So
Go ahead, Mr.
there's
Clay.
a ton of pages on here, obviously. I'm sure you read over them thoroughly in its entirety, and I'm sure our attorney did also, because this councilman did not. There's 120 pages. And I don't want to miss anything, so I'm kind of relying on you guys on this one. But I had a conversation with Dean Engel about requirements of things that we ought to be, in his opinion, that this truck should have on it. And I had shared those with you at that time, Troy. You and Kelly and Travis and everybody are liking exactly where we are on how the truck's set up and everything it needs.
We used, I went and personally talked to Engel, and he had some recommendations, and we asked for those on this truck.
Okay, thank you.
And from my understanding, we only got the one back. Is that how I read it, or was that incorrect in terms of the Floyd trucking? The other one didn't give us one?
You only needed one because it's a Minnesota state bid.
Gotcha.
So many rules
I know.
that we don't have to follow. I can't believe it.
If we can use a government, like Sourcewell or Minnesota State bid, they do the bidding for us,
Gotcha.
so we can use them because it's just a government deal, municipalities, so we don't have to go out to bids for it, they've already done that for us, and we can purchase off those bids.
Perfect. Thank you.
Very good. Good question, Councilman. Okay, we'll call the question with a roll call vote. Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Skylar,
Aye.
Shaheen,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
and Clunt.
Yes.
That motion will carry, that we'll buy a new truck. Item number 4. Do we have a motion?
I think we have to table, correct? Because we don't have the bid, or we don't have the...
Joe.
The recycled trailers that we aren't getting, Mr. Miners, are not
Oh,
these. This has nothing to do with that.
okay,
Okay.
sorry. I'd make a motion to accept the purchase of 4 recycled trailers.
No,
No,
no.
roll call.
You're going road.
We should be on item
You got the-
4
You got the proposed one,
of
Tim.
the final document.
Chandra?
Wrong
It
email.
changed from the first one I sent out.
Yeah, it's on there. He just pulled the wrong one out.
Yeah, it'll be
Good.
that one.
He's
Number
new.
five.
Okay.
He's only been in that chair for 6 weeks now, so we'll give you credit. We're on item number 4 of the final of many versions of our agenda for tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we surplus 30 of the 300-gallon totes in the sanitation department and advertise for sealed bids.
Motion by Shaheen, do we have a second? Second by Clunt, to surplus 30 of the 300-gallon totes in the sanitation department and advertise for sealed bids. This will be a roll call vote. Oh, is there any discussion, please, Mr. Clay?
What's going on?
You better have, yep.
So what we're asking to do here is, when we got into the garbage business, we ordered containers, 6 yards, 4 yards, 2 yards, 300 galloners, 97 and 67 gallons. Of the 300 gallons, which they've been very popular, we've used a lot of them, but we are getting a lot of calls every week for 6-yard dumpsters for rental, just to do like a clean out. And so what we'd like to do is purchase 300. We have 67 of the 300 gallons. We'd like to surplus 30 and use those funds to buy back some 6-yard dumpsters, metal dumpsters, and some 2-yarders. So we have more of those available for the public because we're running short. It seems like every week we have a request for a 6-yarder and we don't have enough. So that's what this is all about.
Very good.
We have more than 30 of these setting in reserve.
We have 67 of them.
Setting, I missed that. If you said it, I'm sorry.
67, yeah. We're gonna.
If you said it, I missed it, I'm sorry. So we'll still have half a reserve on those.
Yep.
We're not depleting those. I understand you're trying to utilize your budget and funds and allocate dollars to better the city. So, okay. The committee, you guys are good.
I have one question before. So how many, you just gonna take this money and buy back 6-yarders and whatever?
We'll have to get bids.
You gotta do a supplemental budget to do that.
Did you hear that from the finance officer, Mr.
Yes,
Miners?
I did.
Okay. Supplemental budget, using the funds that we get for selling these to create a new category for supplemental budget.
The other thing I would like to note on here, it did not go to the newspaper for the simple fact that I didn't hear from committee, so I need to know from council is, do you want a reserve on these? So the original purchase price is in there, what we purchased them for, at $537. Sealed bid, you could get $1 each on them. Do you want to put a reserve on it, or just go with whatever you get is what you get?
I would recommend, they're brand new, I'd recommend not selling them less than we gave for them.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I would recommend the same thing.
Yeah, we always have the right to reject anything, but yeah, we wouldn't I wouldn't take anything less than what we're getting.
Yeah.
The new price, yeah.
So, Mr. Shaheen and Mr. Clint, would you amend your motion to say with reserve of the new purchase price, or of purchase price?
Yeah, do we have to make a new motion or just say yes?
No, you just say yes to that, if both of you agree. Mr. Shaheen?
Yes.
Yes, and Mr. Clunt, do you amend your second?
Yeah.
Very good. So with the reserve in place of the value, of the new value of the totes, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Schuyler,
Yes.
Councilman Shaheen,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
Clunt,
Yes.
and Hughes.
Aye.
Very good, that motion passes. Item number 5, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve change order number 1 with Downey Drilling in the amount of $22,394.75.
I'll second.
Schuyler makes a motion, seconded by Councilman Hughes, to approve change order number 1 with Downey Drilling in the amount of $22,394.75. Does somebody that knows what they're talking about want to explain what this is?
So every year, we do an inspection of 2 wells, we go 2, 2, 2, 1, and then we go a year without. The 2 wells that were being inspected this year were McCabe 1 and number 9. We do 1 from each field. And we had, so we did previously we did a contract with Downey Drilling for the inspection of those wells. And so the added-on price now is for the repair work to number 9 well, which it has a bad motor, so we have to have the motor rewound. And then it also, the well piping sections need to be replaced, so they're going to replace those. I think there's a bearing in there that needs to be replaced on the pump. And we're also going to do a maintenance program on the sand screeds on the very bottom of the wells. So that's what we have to do a change order to the previous contract to include the prices to do this work on that well. That's what this is. Any questions?
Money in the budget.
Yes, it is. It's covered under what Mark budgets.
Good question.
Any other questions for Public Works Director? Okay, via roll call vote to approve change order number 1 with Downey Drilling in the amount of $22,394.75. Councilman Shaheen,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
Clunt,
Yes.
Hughes,
Aye.
and Schuyler.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We can keep getting the best water in South Dakota. Item number 6, do we have a motion?
I'd make a motion to contract amendment with Trinity Foods in the Corrections Department.
Councilman Hughes with a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a second.
And Miners. And once again, I'll ask, does anybody want to explain what is in this motion? There's the right guy.
Basically, and really simply put, they're requesting for a little more money to provide the meals. It's within the checks and balances that Jeff checked with, but this is to feed the inmates, so there's money available for it, sir.
How much is it going up?
From, I think, like 18 cents,
Okay.
so very minimal,
Per
Is it
meal.
a yearly raise, or is it
Yes.
just they wanted more money?
the yearly raise, so.
So why is it a contract amendment if we're on a yearly rate?
I do not know that answer.
I think the contract is, if I remember right, it's ongoing unless something has to change.
Okay, and then they, okay, got you, okay, all right, thank you.
Except they can request an additional.
Understand, I just didn't know
pay.
if it was a yearly, if I was
Yep,
just,
Yep. Every year, I think they can request that.
Mr. Shaheen, your question was answered?
yes.
Okay.
Any other concerns, questions? Hearing none. Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler.
Yes.
Oh, goodness sakes. Councilman Miners.
Yes.
Clunt,
Yes.
Hughes,
Aye.
and Shaheen.
Yes.
That motion passes, luckily. Claims. Do
Mr.
we have
Mayor?
a motion.
I will make a motion to pay the claims. Do I need any additions, Finance Officer?
No.
Okay.
Do we have a second to pay the claims?
I'll second it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Motion by Schuyler, second by Clay to pay the claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good, motion carries. All opposed, we'll give you a chance if you want to disagree. Okay, motion carries. We can pay those people that we owe. At this time, the Winter City Council will move into executive session. Thank you all for coming. By the end of a couple of years, I should know what to do. Yeah, go shut that thing off.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to enter.